Hi, I'm Lucky Harrison from Raise Your Resilience. I'm just going to share with you a little bit of stuff, some thoughts I've had about potential of late, meaning this afternoon. I I remember my dad used to say to me, "You have a lot of potential," and I can't remember necessarily the context in which I heard those statements, but apparently he recognized something in me. So anyway, this afternoon I'm kind of mulling over some of those thoughts on potential. Let's say, well, let's ask this question. How much potential do we have in a given year? Is it this much? And that's all? Or is it this much? And that's all? Or is it exponential? Hmm. That's an important question to know, isn't it? Because if I'm thinking this way, that's what I get a little box at the beginning of the year, and that's all the potential I get, that can be rather limiting, right? What if I burn through all that in January? 11 months of nothing. Whereas I think that what we have available to us is it's like a number, and then you've always seen those the little script up above it, the power designator, which could be an infinity symbol. I tend to think that's the way potential is. That we have this amount of potential that if it's fixed, it's fixed here, whereas it doesn't need to be. So when I started thinking about that, well, how much have I wasted? How much have I lost? That's a disturbing thought to me because it's been a bit. Um, Here's the thing though. If we start moving, if we start moving, now we start to bring some laws of physics into the situation. A body that's in motion will stay in motion until something else comes up along. Let's say if this body is in motion and something comes up along and boom, all of a sudden it'll still stay in motion unless that something of greater motion is working against it. So if your body is in motion, it's moving, okay, then something might come in from the side and bump it. And now that's the direction that you're going in. When it comes to our life plans, our life thoughts, our life ideas, I'm working on my own business, Raise Your Resilience. And I'm actually creating a business plan now after over a decade of business because I hired a business or I hooked up with a business development counselor. That sounded poor. I didn't hook up with him. And I didn't necessarily, I made an appointment. I'm working now with a business development counselor. And so we started around a business plan, which I had to admit I don't even have. And so now we are working through this. It is helping reshape how I think about my business. This is now in motion. And if it's in motion, it is easier to steer. So I don't know if you recall the days. Anyway, you might be able to try this sometime if you're ever. It works on motorcycles too, but I don't know what that was. If in the old days, cars used to with a stick shift, you could push them and they would start. You had to get going fast enough to drop the clutch, and then boom, she'd start up. Put your clutch in, put a neutral, everybody could hop in, and off you go. It was pretty handy. And if you've ever had to push a car that had a dead battery or you were out of gas, it's always easier to steer that vehicle than it is to try to turn just the steering wheel on a car that is sitting on the ground. So a body that's in motion is so you might get a little bit of a nudge, and here you go this way. Because at the time I started this business plan, I was thinking I was moving this way. Now I'm moving that way, and then boop, okay. And like a sailboat, it tacks across a body of water as it adjusts the sails to achieve its direction, to achieve its forward motion. It moves zigzaggy, but it's moving forward. Start moving. If you think like you're wasting time, just if you're working on an idea, just start moving. Start moving forward, doing something, moving towards fulfilling your potential, because that's what gets you from the, so we have this. Okay. See that right there? 2 to the power of. That's where you want to be moving towards. Could be 5, could be 9, could be any number. Oh, drop my pencil. But that's, start moving, and you'll be able to move past the initial digit into the power number. 9 to the whatever power. Way cool. Anyway, start moving. Now, there needs to be a certain mindset that goes along with this. Remember I mentioned the box? That's a mindset. And mind, I thought about this one day, mindset. You know what sets? Concrete. Hard, implacable, but concrete is guaranteed to do 2 things. I'm sure most of you know this. 1, it gets hard. 2, it cracks. And I think the reason that happens is because we put concrete primarily on the earth. And when it's on the earth moves. Believe it or not, the earth moves a lot. And so concrete, which doesn't move much, cracks. That's just the way concrete is. Now, mindset means that I can have a set mind even about potential. That set mind is, I have this much. That's just one of them. The other mindset is, this is the way it's going to happen. All right. Well, that's not necessarily the best way to look at that either. Because as I said, your body might be in motion, but if something comes up against it, whoop, it's going to be pushed into that direction. Or I will insist on this movement. This will want to go this way, but now I have to push against it. So this body now has to exert more energy to stay in its mindset, and it runs the risk now of its initial course, because if this mass is bigger, has more potential behind it, has more movement behind it, it is going to do something to this one way, shape, form, or another. Okay, so mindset can be that this is the way it's going to happen, as opposed to having a potential mindset, which says, okay, I'm in motion. Now I'm going to kind of anticipate these forces working not against me necessarily, but up beside me, steering me. I'm going to be open to those possibilities. And I like to use the word dynamic. In the time I've been talking to you, there have been millions and millions and hundreds of, some would probably say trillions, but regardless, every cell in my body, every cell in my brain, firing off, cells moving, changing, stuff going in and out of cells, some cells dying, some cells being born. All of that is going on as I have been talking to you. And that's a pretty amazing thought. That's what I call dynamic. Even in my bones. And in the time you sat here listening to me, even in your bones, cells were moving. Bones in the body are not quite as set and hard as they are outside of the body once they've dried up. But in any event, that's dynamic. So if you're going to have a mindset as you explore your potential, have an open one, have a dynamic one. Work with physics as opposed to it. But realize that your potential is unlimited. Sunday Night Thoughts, thank you very much for being here. I will talk to you later. Bye.